Hey guys and girls, Poketeam King here back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about Pokemon. So all things Pokemon will be covered in this video. I'm going to talk about the recent Pokemon Day news, where the market is in terms of TCGs, some things that I've been picking up recently, and my thoughts about the recent sets and kind of the future of Pokemon. So we'll start off with Pokemon Day was yesterday. It was 28 years since Red and Green came out originally in Japan in 1996. So it's mad to think that we're going to be hitting our 30th anniversary in 2 years, which it just seems mad. We've hit 15, 20, 25, and stuff like that, anniversaries. And it's mad. I remember being in Japan in 2016 for the 20th anniversary, and that was mad. And 30 years, I think, is a really big number, and there's not many games or many franchises that are still continuing to make product and be relevant as Pokemon is after all these years. So when we talk about Pokemon, we obviously are discussing a multi-generational IP here that is very, very rare. That something can continue to be as popular as it was the day it came out. And we obviously have these ups and downs in terms of popularity. We had Pokemon 2016, which was Pokemon Go, obviously the 20th anniversary, and everything went mental. We had Evolutions come out, and it was Generations. Then we've had, Celebrations since, and everything that we've had sort of in between. But we had Pokemon Day. The announcements that we had were there's going to be a new Pokemon TCG Pocket, which is going to be similar to like Duel Links, that Yu-Gi-Oh came out with a few years back, which I think is a really great idea. You get to open the packs on your phone. It makes sense, right? Everyone's on their phone these days. The next generation of people that are going to get involved in this, they might not be playing in person, at a card store. They might be ripping packs and playing with their friends. Kind of like, FIFA does the Ultimate Team kind of thing with that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here. We've seen some art of some cards already, which look amazing. This really does kind of bring it into the future. Duel Links is like free monster and spell and trap zones, so it's a lot more limited than the standard game. So I can see that this is probably going to be very similar to that. So it'll be a really good way of getting people into the TCG. I might even get involved. Honestly, I don't play the game myself, the TCG, but I'm interested in getting involved in that. And then we also had a new Legends game announced, which was Pokemon Z. Or Z, even. So it's going to be set around Luminos City. It looks like the redevelopment plan they've mentioned. So it looks like before it became the city that it has. So it's basically kind of like an XY remake, but not. It's going to be like a sort of return to Kalos. So that'll be interesting. Interesting that we skipped Black and White and Unova. A lot of people really want Unova. There's a really core fan base of people that grew up with that. And as we said, this is why the multi-layers, multi-generational IP works, right? It's because, Black and White era, for a lot of people, was a weak era. But it also brought in new fans. And those are going to be now nostalgic about that era and want remakes of those games and so forth. And it will happen every generation where the past generations might not enjoy it. And it will happen with Scarlet and Violet. In 10, 15 years' time, people will be calling for remakes of Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. It's going to happen. So, and that's why it works so well, because it's constantly selling that nostalgia. What is the price of nostalgia? And apparently, it's 40 to 50 quid for a game. So, interesting announcements. I'm quite excited. I was hoping for a Let's Go Johto series game. I really did enjoy the Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, which were really fantastic additions to the game. Something a little bit different while still being, similar to the main core series. But that was interesting. That's great. We're going to move on now to the card game side of things. So where is Pokemon TCG doing right now? We've obviously a month out of the release. So we've had Paldea and Fates come out now. It's been a month since Paldea and Fates came out. The set did fairly well, I think. Probably not as great as some people thought, but it did okay. I don't think 151 and that set coming out in such a short proximity was a great idea. I'm still a firm believer of one holiday set per year. I don't think they should come out so close together. It just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like it dilutes it, and it just kind of saturates the market a little bit. But 151 obviously did really well. Japanese box prices are climbing again. Quite hard to find boxes that are legit and sealed now. Obviously, the question of authenticity is a big thing right now with Japanese boxes. Japanese TCG prices are starting to drop now on sealed boxes. New sets are coming out. You can pick them up in the UK for like £40, which is great. Some are £35, which is, absolutely fantastic. So there's no real reason. It can actually be cheaper to buy from the UK now than actually buy from Japan and import and stuff like that. So I always enter the lottery systems and the print to demand thing with Pokemon Center, because I can just get it shipped to my black ship, and then when I got a couple of stuff in there, I'll just get it shipped over, and it works out, significantly cheaper than it was before. But now it's a little bit closer, so maybe I'll need to start sort of looking at what I should do with that, whether or not it's something that I should keep in for long term. But yeah, Japanese is kind of dipped. English is just where it's at. Bar the holiday sets, we had Paradox Rift come out. We got Temporal Forces, which looks like a really good set. Temporal Forces actually looks like a really solid set. They brought back the A specs. They're a very special card that came through the black and white era. They're one per deck. You can have one single A spec per deck because they're that powerful. So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they do any more nods to the Unova region, black and white in general. Obviously, we've got, I think, they've done the Kabalion and Virizion, I think. New cards of those. I don't know about Terrakion. I haven't seen Terrakion. And then we've obviously got the Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, the newer versions of those. I can't remember off by heart the name. I know the Blood Moon is the next Japanese release, which is the Blood Moon Ursaring. So yeah, definitely things are quieted down a little bit in Japanese. English, still things are going. For me as a store, I have to be sort of quite transparent now with a business. I'm gonna start ordering less product, just because I can't compete with a lot of the stores that are selling below cost. Basically, they'll buy it in pallets, so their cost price is lower. But for a store like myself, who is, I wouldn't say I'm massively small, but I'm definitely not large. Even at the discount that I get for ordering X amount of cases, I just can't compete. And then you've got TikTok Shop, which I think is something that's going to be growing, where they actually subsidise. So you can get box on there now for £80, which is well below retail, which is a third below retail, which is ridiculous. But they subsidise it, so the sellers still get the same amount. It's just that TikTok basically subsidise that. So that's another sort of thing to think about when selling Pokemon. But it doesn't mean that there isn't any good opportunities, and it doesn't mean the sets aren't good. I've spoke about this in the past. I think the sets are good. I just don't think the demand is there right now. I don't think the sets are any printed more. And I've heard news that Temporal Forces will be printed 20% at a lower 20% rate, basically. So there's going to be less supply of Temporal Forces, just because Pokemon's starting to realise that we need to sort of bring back our print runs. But they do generally do that every now and then. They will randomly short print a set, just to kind of see what happens for the banter, for them really, and to kind of see what the market takes to that. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I think it's going to be a good set. I'm looking forward to the set myself, actually. I probably will open a little bit myself. Paldean and Fates, yeah, we've had... it was split up over the course of a month. So the booster bundles were the last thing to come. I got those last week. I've got a couple left. A couple of tins. The Charizard tins went really well. But apart from that, nobody really wanted the rest of it. And another thing to talk about as well, which is really interesting, is for the first time ever, and I'll try to include a photo somewhere here, Pokemon centers in Japan have started stocking English Pokemon product, which is something that's never happened ever before. They've only ever stocked Japanese product, but the demand for Japanese product is still high in Japan. It's not gone down. Like box prices have gone down, but demand is still there. So they've started stocking English, which will be interesting. So I'll need to find out how well that sells over there. How big is the market for English Pokemon in Japan? That's a really good question. Is it a case of like if they can't get anything, Pokemon, English Pokemon is good enough, or is it a case of just like this is a desperate sort of we need to get product on shelves kind of thing? So definitely interesting. Something that kind of adds a spanner into the works. Something sort of new really to this. Gigantic IP that we talk about because people are always often talking about, well, is Pokemon dying and I've heard that conversation for about 20 years now, honestly. I remember being on forums, Pojo forums and other, Poker Beach forums, but other forums as well, where people were saying, in 2004, 2006, oh, is Pokemon dying? Doesn't seem like the stores around here are doing Pokemon leagues or, packs aren't selling. That my store said they're not really selling much Pokemon, so they're going to stop. We've had that all over, and that does happen. There's little dips, We've seen these giant booms here. Pokemon's never going to be able to, at this point, reach those levels again. That, prime boom when you had Logan Paul involved. And when everyone talks about that, right, they mention the name Logan Paul. So it's definitely interesting. Will we see another sort of cataclysmic event like that where everything just goes mental? I'm not sure. I think that wasn't organic, and I don't think we're going to get an organic growth that could be that big. So it would have to be something special. I'm not entirely sure what that could be. But for me, I'm still keeping some product back. I'm still buying sealed, as always. Boxes and ETBs are the best. I do like chill blisters, and I have been dipping into check lane blisters recently. Some specific ones. Look, the opportunity is there, right? If you're seeing boxes for less than retail, you're seeing ETBs for less than retail. Remember a time that wasn't the case, and look at all the sets prior in the past. Look at the prices of XY now. Look at the prices of Sun and Moon, and look at the prices of some early Sword and Shield stuff, and some late Sword and Shield stuff. So my advice would be sets like Lost Origins and Silver Tempest were the most recent sets to have reprints. I would be looking at picking up some of that. If I was you, I would be looking at picking some of that product up, whether it's boxes or ETBs. And keep it sealed. Look, the money isn't being made by ripping packs. The EV for Pokemon is horrendous. You might see your mate get the Charizard and go, this card's worth £200, but then you're going to open, a whole box and you're going to make, you're going to be getting 30 quid's value out of a box that you paid, 80 to, £100 for. So the opportunity is there. People talk about, oh, I wish I'd been able to go back in time and buy this then and buy that. This is your time now. The best time to buy would have been yesterday, and the second best time is today. So if you can't, if you're looking back and going, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that, buy. It's kind of that simple. There's enough people talking about what to buy. It doesn't take much compared to other TCGs. Pokemon is very easy to invest in collecting. If you just stick to what pick a lane, do a little bit of research. Okay, I'm gonna go into Sword and Shield boxes, or I think early Scarlet Violet boxes are a pickup at £80 a box or $80 a box or whatever the price may be. Or ETBs, they got a lower price point. They're a little, they are price wise more liquid than a booster box. You don't get it doesn't pack a punch as much as a box, right? $80 for a box where you get 36 packs. ETB, you get 9 as a standard. You get a promo, sleeves and stuff. But if you can get ETBs for like $25, then it seems like a no-brainer, really. The promos are nice. The sleeves are good. The promo and sleeves are a couple of quid or a couple of dollars anyway themselves. They're great storage boxes. I store all my cards in them. I have them everywhere. My whole place is full of ETB storage boxes. But if you've only got any questions, shoot me a message on Instagram or comment below. I'm looking at getting involved in this and that. I will give advice where I can, but I can I can only give you advice. I can't sort of make you buy it. You can only lead a horse to water, right? So, but But I do think Pokemon, the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there with us right now. And I'm still buying. Whether or not I'm buying for the business to sell is different. But I am still buying. I've pulled back on my collection purchases now. I think I'm pretty much where I want to be. I picked up a recent one recently, and I've got some slabs here that I need to chuck for sale. So we just got random slabs that I've just been going through from recent submissions and stuff. 10s, 9s, 6s. We got some older stuff here, some stamp promos, some Japanese stuff, like just a whole random amount really. I've been auctioning slabs off now, just trying to sort of make my position a little bit smaller and then move that into sealed. I think sealed is the play. It always has been. I think people got a little bit sidetracked with grading. I did myself. I bought a lot of graded cards that prices have crashed massively. I remember watching Japanese Neo era PSA 9s go from $15 to $100 each. And thinking, well, if I buy at 40, that's a good price, right? But then now they've gone back down to like 25. So it's like, it feels bad, but that's part of it, right? That's part of the learning curve, There is a price to learn in there. That's your entry price here. So you're going to make mistakes. It's not always going to be perfect. I've been doing this, 20 years, and I haven't got it right every single time. But as long as you're learning from the mistakes that you make, then, things will happen. So thank you all for watching. Please comment, subscribe as always, and have a great day.